My name is David Skinner, and this is my story. My family moved down from Scarborough to Derby in the early 50s. My dad left the RAF and moved down there to find work. My mum had become a happy Protestant on marrying my dad in 1946, and we went to the local Anglican church as a family, and I was confirmed at about the age of 13. And once my parents had given me the choice of whether to go or not, I stopped going because by that time other things had started to interest me, mainly girls and motorbikes as I recall, and so I stopped going. I went to university, University of East Anglia, and studied biology, and the evolutionary thinking there really gave me a foundation for my growing atheism. After university, I worked at 3M in one of their manufacturing plants in South Wales. I was eager to please, quick to learn, and a hard worker, so my career progressed very well until the late 80s. Shortly after the company moved me to Bracknell, to the head office, my career stalled, and by this time we had 2 young boys. Nonetheless, Lynn, my wife, and I decided to start our own business, and everything was going well. We had a 5-year business plan, we had business premises lined up, we had an overdraft facility at the bank, and everything was working out fine. And then in 1989 the housing market crashed, and with it our capital to kickstart the business. And I realised that in spite of my ability to plan well, my ability to make things happen, that I was not in control. We'd poured everything into trying to start this business up, both emotionally and financially. So Easter Day 1989, we had no money to go anywhere, and we decided on a whim to go to church. I walked into that church as an atheist with a sack full of woes, and I came out an hour or so later as a believer in Jesus Christ and walking 10 feet off the ground. It was a traditional Anglican church that we'd gone to, and they used the Book of Common Prayer as their liturgy. Every word seared into my heart as I realised the depth of my sin and the love of God in Christ forgiving my sin. Tears streamed down my face, and it wasn't so much the realisation of my sin, although that was bad enough. It was the overwhelming love of God that floored me. I realised that this God against whom I had railed, even though I denied that he existed, this God against whom I blasphemed terribly, loved me and the world so much that he gave his only Son. A week later, we found ourselves again at this church, and before the service started, I knelt down and prayed. I prayed something like this: Lord, my life is yours. I've made a mess of it so far. I commit the rest to you. Do with it as you please. And after becoming a Christian, my attitude to work colleagues and my bosses changed very dramatically, and my career started to blossom again, and the company asked me to start up a new business in Europe in large format digital printing, which was very new at the time, and this would be based in Germany. The company bought our house, they paid for our removal costs and all legal fees, so we left the UK without any debts. We started in Germany with a clean financial sheet. We had no money in the bank, but neither did we have any debts. And while we were there, we attended a small evangelical Anglican church, and the vicar there, he liked to develop people, and he got me leading services and preaching at services. And unbeknown to us, he and his wife were praying that I would enter into full-time Christian ministry. When I told Lynn, my wife, this, she laughed like Sarah, Abraham's missus. She knew me. But you know, God uses the unlikely people for his purposes so that he gets the glory. I undertook to study theology by distance learning, and after 5 very difficult long years I gained a degree. We then had to make a decision, and we decided after much prayer to cut the cords in Germany and head back to the UK. I quit my job, I cashed in my share options, we sold the house, we set the boys up financially for their education and so on, and we came back. And that was a big risk to take, because let's be fair, which church wants to take on a mid-50s person with no pastoral experience? Well, Oldham Bethel Church did. They took that risk, and I served there from 2005 to 2013 as their pastor, and continue to serve there now as an elder of the church. It's been absolutely marvellous to be involved in God's work, not by my own doing, but by the grace of God, changing an atheist into a believer in Jesus Christ. This is my story.